Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the 5 greatest Schubert singers. Oh, wow, this is going to be a toughie, because like every singer in the universe does Schubert, you have to. Most people do Schubert, pretty well, because, you have to. And the bar has been set very high. I mean, if you just look at Hyperion or Naxos's complete Schubert song editions, you've got just rafts of really good leader singers. I suppose the only criterion that really concerns me about singing Schubert is that the singers should be without affectation. There needs to be a naturalness to what they do. It should sound like they're in the living room of their friends and someone is tinkling the ivories and everyone's finished with a nice dinner and they've just decided to relax and have a little sing. That's sort of the best way to deliver Schubert lieder, actually lieder generally. Unfortunately, as I have pointed out many times, the classical music universe has decided that lieder singing is an exalted form of deity worship, and often presents such events with a seriousness and attitude, because of course these are just songs. And songs are songs. It doesn't matter what kind of songs they are. It doesn't matter who wrote them. They're all about, missing your girlfriend or something like that. And the forms are all the same and they're very simple. And, it's just a song. But in the classical world, they have to make everything high culture. And because of that, the song becomes this transcendental experience. Which Schubert never intended, number one. And number two, it just isn't. And it's really kind of weird, to see these very formal, stuffy affairs where songs are presented. Part of the blame for this falls on some of these singers who of course, enhance their own careers and their own importance in the world of classical music generally, decided that songs were the most important things that anyone could ever do. But they were great singers. They were. So, what can you do except enjoy the singing in the comfort and convenience of your own home, which I think, personally, is a vastly better way to experience lieder songs, or Schubert songs particularly, than in a concert setting. Because concert settings are just too freaking formal. You got to be able to lay down naked on your bed with a bag of chips and maybe the TV with the sound turned off and play your songs. Something like that, it's got to be more casual. That's how I feel about it anyway. I know others don't. Others have drunk the Kool-Aid and feel that the Liederabend is a thing. So here are some singers who got into the thing and others who sort of presented the thing in a far more pleasant way. First, Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau. Now, Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau is, of course, the greatest lieder singer of the second half of the 20th century. Some may take issue with that, but just in terms of quantity of what he did and the significance of what he did and the importance of what he did and the range of what he did, nobody comes close to him. They just don't. That's a fact. That's not up for dispute. You may dislike the way he sang, and as his career went on and his voice dried out, he got more into barking and declamation than actual singing. But he was a very, very, very great and a very intelligent singer. There's no question about that. And his legacy speaks for itself. There are just some things that aren't worth arguing about. And I've seen comments here too. Oh, Fischer-Dieskau was the worst singer who ever lived, bloppity, bloppity, blah. Well, voice people will always do that. They're always into making these crazy statements. And, it's kind of like saying, Glenn Gould was the world's worst Bach pianist. I mean, we have to be dealing in the same reality. Otherwise, no conversation is possible. So you can like him or dislike him, but he was unquestionably one of the greatest Schubert singers ever. No question about it. And we just have to live with it. You know, you may not like it, but deal with it. Next, Hermann Prey. Now, Hermann Prey was the singer for people who don't like Fischer-Dieskau, because he had a really, really lovely, lovely baritone voice. And he always sang with a far more, lyrical and natural sort of delivery. He didn't muck with words the way Fischer-Dieskau did, and he didn't, bark and huff for sort of dramatic, to make dramatic points. He was just a wonderfully mellifluous singer, and I love his work. I prefer him personally, but he didn't do nearly as much recording as Fischer-Dieskau did, but he was absolutely terrific. So that's obviously someone who should be on the list. Fritz Wunderlich. Your name is wonderfulness. It was really kind of cool, actually. He died young, but he was one of the great German tenors and one of the great lieder singers. Everybody agrees with that too. I mean, he was one of a kind, a tremendous communicator, a jovial personality, somebody who was born to sing. There's some people who, when they sing songs, you just know that that's what they were destined to do. And Wunderlich was one of those. He really was one of those. And his, recordings of like Die Schöne Müller and the Schubert song cycles are just fabulous. Just amazing. So, he should definitely be on the list. So those are the guys. Then we've got a couple ladies who are also unbelievable lieder singers. I mean, there are lots of those too. I have a feeling the lists that you present are going to be extremely interesting and varied. It's going to be a lot of people coming up here. But Christa Ludwig was a one of those people who definitely drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, she believed that being a lieder singer was a calling from a higher power. But she didn't do it in a snooty and annoying way. She did it in a musical way. If you've watched her master classes, which are just terrific, by the way, they're on YouTube. You can see them. They're enormous fun. She's always concerned with expression and delivering the text with musicality and point, and she's, generally speaking, very friendly. She believed in the joy of what she was doing. And she communicates that very well as well. Even when she's recording Die Winterreise, she was a tremendous, tremendous singer. And the nice thing about her lieder singing also is that it gave her the opportunity to take center stage, because she was, of course, mostly a mezzo for most of her life. Her biography was originally titled, actually it was titled in German. I would have much preferred to have been a soprano, because then she could have really taken on some of these great roles that she loved, although she did manage to do an amazing Leonora and Fidelio and things like that. But, when she sang lieder, it was her opportunity, I think, to take on the personas and get the kind of attention that her artistry warranted, because she was just an incredible artist. So her Schubert was special. And last but not least, and this is my personal favorite, but I don't think anyone would disagree with her being one of the greatest Schubert singers, Elly Ameling. Elly Ameling, who, strangely enough, she was, very friendly with Elizabeth Schwarzkopf, who was, the most mannered and affected lieder singer who ever lived, which was great for like Hugo Wolf, not so great for Schubert. But Ameling was, I think, the most natural and giving of almost any of the lieder singers of the 20th century. I mean, she just had the voice that sounded as though she were your best friend, and she was whispering the song into your ear, and you understood exactly what it was about, what she was doing, and there wasn't a thing she did that sounded in any way arch or affected or unnatural, or I mean, she was just terrific. She didn't sound like she was an operatic singer who was doing lieder, which is a very, very different kind of thing. She didn't feel that she needed to project, to the back of the theater. There was an intimacy to everything she did, and her voice did project. I mean, I heard her. She projected. But it was the quality of the voice and the way she handled the words, the texts, that just allowed her to be present, on a one-to-one basis. It's a real gift, a tremendous gift. So that, my friends, is my list of the 5 greatest Schubert singers and why they are the 5 greatest Schubert singers. You, of course, will have your own choices, and I look forward to seeing what they are. However, I have to do the however. Since I know most people look at the list and don't bother to watch the video, it may be pointless and I'll be deleting a lot of things. Just give us your list. Do not say, well, I would pick this one because so-and-so sucks, or this one is awful. That's not the point of this exercise at all. No one wants to hear your opinion of how bad the choices on someone else's list are. We want to see your choices in a positive way. So let's keep it that way, shall we? And keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.